I would come in the house, like, I'm on the phone talking with my friend. I walk in the house and I'm just going, we're chit chatting or whatever. And then one day my husband ended up saying, like, listen, I'm gonna need you to stop being on the phone when you come in the house. And I'm like, my first response was like, well, what's the big deal? Whatever. And he's just like, I don't like that. Like when you first walk into the door, you greet the people that's in the house, like, hey, or whatever. And he's like, you're on the phone. You don't speak. You don't say, hey, nothing. So he was like, I'm gonna need you to, at least give me the first 10 minutes when you come through the door. Right. And I tried my best to respect. I'm not saying that I didn't mess up, because that was a habit that I had to unlearn, and he did. He gave me grace, but I do make sure that, since that was something that he expressed to me, that said, I don't really like when you do this, I'm going to need you to change that. I was willing to do that because, what was 10 minutes? He's not asking a lot, and so I think it goes back to what, like Inaza said, is that you can't necessarily expect a person to make changes or have a level like, you should know not to do that kind of thing, because their experiences are different, right? So, but it's on you as the person who you want your needs met. You have to express that. Because I could have just kept going, and inside he just mad, like, gosh, you're so disrespectful. I have no idea that he's viewing this as being disrespectful. I'm just like, going on about my business, and that could have been a point of contention between us because he didn't actually express that. Now if he expressed it and then I just was like, all right, you're just gonna have to get over it. Now that becomes a my issue. You know what I'm saying? It's no longer his issue, because he shared, how he felt. And I think a lot of times that's where we go wrong. We'll not say nothing and then get upset, at the other person for not just knowing. And, you can't.
Okay, I want to say this real quick, because I can't disagree with the knives and mistaken in regards to us men setting the foundation that we want to set from rip, but we can't skim over a point that Harrison made, that I would say that most of the men we get to see and experience often. When Harrison made the point about the seven compensating for whatever the whatever she's lacking in the looks department, making up for something else, making it up somewhere else, the nine doesn't do that. Typically, from my experience anyway, the nine is going to show up the way she wants to show up. Either you're going to choose to accept it or you're not, because she's beautiful and she can get the attention that she wants, when she wants it, how she wants it, from somebody else. So yeah, we should set the foundation and we should set the premise. But this nine, most of this nines, and I'd say her entire life, she's been treated like a princess. She's had that pretty privilege that that seven standard just hasn't had it on the same level. So it I understand what your friend was saying, Shan. Now, do I necessarily agree? No, because I believe we men, we should set the foundation and be willing to let any female go that doesn't fall into our program. But it is different dealing with a nine than dealing with a seven. Dealing with a seven is different than dealing with a five, and so forth, because they do have these other attributes typically that compensate where they lack on the look side. Because women are also highly competitive, and you guys stack yourselves up against the next woman typically.
Go ahead,
So
Ema.
like we can't skim over that happens. So I agree with your point you made, Harrison, and I also agree with you and Nas completely. Like, man, we have to be willing to say F you nine. Like, that's not what I want.
Go ahead, Nas, because I got a feeling I'm going to say the same thing, and then I'm going to go. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's so interesting that, like, women get demonized or praised for these things when men are the ones who've set up the system. The reason that the 7 has to compensate for her looks is because men look at her and say, well, you're not pretty enough to move like that, so what else do you have to offer? The reason the 9 gets to get away with what she gets to get away with is because men say, oh, she's pretty enough that I can put up with that. Like, men set the standard for women to move in that direction and then don't provide any sort of additional clarity when things change, and just base the fact of you're either a good woman or you're not based on the systems that are created by men. What I'm saying about like being upfront about your needs off rip is that you're putting everybody on an equal playing field. The looks just then become the bonus, right? Where now the 9 understands these are the things that you have to bring to the table. Being pretty is just not enough. I understand that a woman's value is in her looks. I get that, right? But if men are saying that only gets you through the door, it doesn't mean that you're going to be kept, then that needs to also be communicated through the way that the 9 is treated. It can't just be attention, right? These women are getting relationships, they're getting all of the things that other women aspire to and all of this stuff. The moment men decide to collectively restructure the way meritocracy works, I think you'll see a lot of changed behavior in these like upper echelon of women.
And one of my major points since I've been on here has been we are the ones that have to reset this entire standard, period. I've always said that if we want change, let's get off YouTube and quit complaining about it and fix what what we know to be broken instead of complaining about women. Which is why you hardly ever hear me say anything to the women, is because I believe it's on men to fix it, which is why I agreed that, if we set that standard right off rip, right out the gate, then they can either choose to take it or leave it. And if they can't fulfill that side of it, don't send for these hoes. Just keep it moving. Okay, she a 9. Find another one. Find one that fits your program the way you want your program to be run. And that's just the way it should be. But instead, we far too often we see these guys bending over backwards because the woman looks like Kelly Rowland or whoever the 9 standard is, right? Oh man, oh man, my chick bad. Yeah, she got a bad stinking ass attitude, and you put up with it. I would never do that. When I get home, I get a sandwich because my chick made a sandwich before dinner because she knew I was hungry after work. Yo 9 didn't do that, did she? Nah, I had to go make my own sandwich. Well, is that what you want, or is that what you're settling for? When you're settling for bullshit and get what we want right and set it right out the gate, or let it be known, hey, look here, Miss 9, all you are is a bust down until I find the 7 that fits everything that I need. And I just think we BS way too much. I really do. You get better results when you just keep it up, keep it 100 right out the gate. You get better results. Period.
Absolutely. And I wanted to go back to what Ina said. I don't care if a woman is in love with you. I don't care what she is. She is going to do whatever it is that because women want to do things for their men. They want to. It's just in us. If I'm in love with you, and that's where the love comes from. Now, we had a conversation a long time ago when it's a transactional relationship. Those are not the ones we're talking about. We're talking about when she is really feeling this man, that she is going to go all in for him. I don't care what she looks like. She's going to do what it is that you need her to do. But you can't be treating her like, oh, she's this 9. I'm not going to give it to her because I may lose her. No, you have to use her for what she's there for. And that's to assist you. You're shooting yourself in the, like Ina said, you're damaging the entire relationship if you don't give her an opportunity to do that. And it's a great way to test whether she's in it for you. If she has feelings for you, because I'm going to tell you, women are made the same. If we like something, if we want something, we're in love with something, we will go to bat for that one thing, period.
Well, I agree with you. If you respond to a woman like a fan, that's what you're going to be. She's going to treat you like you're disposable, like every other brother, because the 9s be getting fans. They got OnlyFans now, so they out here making it do what they do, right?
Listen, you talking. I
OnlyFans
wish
and
y'all would
family
stop.
is two different
Listen,
things.
I'm
yes,
saying they
everything
got
is not
fans,
on
they got OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
They
But
got
first
they
of
got
all,
paper fans.
attention
You know,
is
see
totally
out here.
different than love. Even
yes,
if you get the attention,
I get
if you're
you.
lacking the love, yes, you'll keep chasing attention. But once you
I
find the
agree.
love, the person that you connect with, then you want their attention. It
Yeah,
shifts, and you're going to
but
do everything to keep that person's attention on you.
she
that
will
that
give up that Instagram for you. Okay,
but
she
that's
will delete
that's
that
cool.
account for you.
But that's cool. But it's just like we can't treat like women. Many times people be like, "All women ain't the same." They be like, "All men ain't the same." So you're
They're
not
not.
going to sit up here and tell me that a woman that's been getting all this attention simply from her looks, she's just going to stop responding that way. As far as like, "Oh well, I'm a change how I naturally interact just because I see a guy that I like." If you start acting in a way that she don't agree with, she gonna be like, well, there's another guy that keeps showing me his attention, which is one of the main reasons why most women stay single. Is because they know they can get attention from wherever they want, right? It might not be the right attention, but women be out here looking around doing this, that, and the third. And I would say this, and this is part of the reason why I said what I said, as far as the qualities, as far as the skills that you develop from not having certain weaknesses. You have to understand that even as a brother, we do a lot of risk assessment, right? Many times women will tell us, hey, stop picking the women that dress like this if you don't like that type of thing, right? And typically when you have been socially like branded that your body is one of your best assets, you're going to continue to do the thing that gets you majority of the attention. So if you out here and you're a 9 and you're like the most finest thing walking, and guys literally just be like, oh my god, I just want to just sniff her hair, right? You got that kind of woman, right? The brothers that ain't fans, and we treat her like we would treat any other woman, and we're trying to build the foundation, this, that, and the third, we're gonna notice how she interacts with people. We're gonna notice what her Instagram look like. We're gonna notice what skills she gives without us having to say anything. And we're gonna be like, okay, what is the likelihood that if I try to build this foundation and try to teach her how I want XYZ, what is the likelihood of her actually willingly making this adjustment?